Good afternoon. This is Senior Master Durant with Beyond the Mat. Today we're digging in deep. We're going to talk about cultural environment for your organization and for your school and why it's so important. As I stated, over 20 plus years as a school owner, been doing martial arts for closer to 30. And one of the things I've been privy to is being in some of those back room conversations. And while we sit here and say we're teaching these life skills, a lot of school owners on the top level, it's just marketing. It's unfortunate. The same things that you brought your children or yourself to martial arts to come to avoid sexism, racism, all those things you would think on the mat, integrity, focus, all these things. And the fact of the matter is, most organizations cause decisiveness between their own school owners. Most of them are still boys clubs, even to the point where I've seen a high-ranking woman get kicked out or helped out of an organization because she moved up too far. And some women didn't like that. Some people in the organization didn't want a high-ranked woman to be the lead. So she wound up being kind of pushed out the door. I've seen several African-American leaders, including myself, get pushed out of doors because we just didn't fit the mold. And those are things that shouldn't happen in martial arts. That's supposed to be the thing you're safe from in martial arts. But there's still glass ceilings for minorities and women in martial arts, even more so. And so being independent, you will not have to worry about that anymore. You won't have to worry about how far can you go up the food chain. You are the food chain. You get to create your boundaries and limits, which I hope is the sky's the limits for all of you out there. When you do that, you're also going to keep your school culture safe. Let me tell you, let me rephrase that. Organizations bring two big things to the table: curriculum and a tournament circuit. That's when most of us see each other. Otherwise, we're in our respective schools doing our thing. And that's typically how it goes. When you start bringing your students to tournaments or functions with an organization, it takes away some of your school identity. And when it does that, it affects your school culture, because those parents and students go back to your school and say, oh my God, did you see this? Did you see that? Or how they treat this person, how they treat that person, how they treated their own student. There's no reason for you to subject your students or yourself or your staff to that. So by staying independent, you're going to keep your school culture safe and away from all of that. By doing so, your students stay away from toxicity from the organization and different school owners. You're going to also see an uptick in your customer satisfaction and retention, believe it or not. Most of my students that I've lost over time have been from going to tournament circuits and getting treated unfairly, rudely, not getting what they were supposed to receive as far as fairness. And because of that, they looked at the organization and said, I don't want any part of that. And they leave. And it happens with every school that participates in tournaments. So you're actually going to see an uptick in your retention, because now you can control that by having your own tournaments. You're not going to have to worry about regional variances. You're not going to have to worry about that patch that the other school is wearing, seeing their student perform. That's clearly not superior, but giving them a higher score because let's face it, if they give them a lower score, their parents are going to look at them and say, why didn't my child win? Why aren't they good enough? Why aren't they as good as that other school? And then integrity comes into play. Like I said, some schools, they're not practicing these. It's just a great marketing tool. When you get the higher retention rate, you're going to have closer relationships with your students by keeping it all in-house. When you have closer relationship with your students, you're going to have better bonds. You're going to have better retention, better customer satisfaction. Same with your parents. There's not going to be a mixed message when they go to a tournament or they go to another function and little Johnny does it differently than us, and they're not following the same level or quality of critique or technique that your school performs. So, cultural environment is almost number one, because if you walk into an organization that's not really teaching those life skills but just marketing them, you're going to be in a bad situation. And as school owners and instructors, when you start engaging and start getting behind the doors, you know, those backdoor meetings that I've been part of, man, you really find out how much of a boys club it is and how restricted and limited some people's thinking are and is, and it starts to tarnish your opinion or feeling of what martial arts is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be above all of that. It really is. And that's where you want to keep it. So the best way of doing that, just not engaging in organizations, because most of them, you're going to run into it. I ran into it in multiple organizations, and let's just say, if they want you out, they want you out, and it's just not a good look all the way around. This is Senior Master Durant, Beyond the Mats. We're here to help you. Keep following us. Hit that like button.